And then I'm going to mute myself so I'm less loud. All right, we should be good.
We good now?
Yes.
All right. Just turn the computer, buddy, so I can when I'm talking. Perfect. So where retreat happened looks pretty nice.
We're in Destin, Florida.
Nice. Okay, cool. Awesome. Excited to be here. And I want to thank you for inviting me. I've got a special training plan for you that I hope you will enjoy. And I know this is a group of leaders. I want to really put there a high-level leadership training that really deep into a key. My experience are some of the things that people need most. Sometimes the things that we need the most are not necessarily the things that we know or that we want. So I'm because of room. And being said, I want to share with some things that I've learned over my career and through experience of teaching, working with and teaching quite a bit of leaders over the last few years that I've been building a training company that I know are some of the most impactful things. And I promise that by the time we're done here today, you'll have at least one, two really profound insights in terms of focusing on the inner game of success, leadership. I think a lot of times that's overlooked. It's usually the thing that we need most in order to help transform ourselves. And I know I love retreats. You know, I love running them. I love attending them. And I know that the power of a retreat is you're really kind of immersing yourself in the world of your business and your own development, growth. Hopefully I'll give you some things today that you all can chat about over the next day or so, or however long you're there, that can really help you. But for the benefit of anybody that is not familiar with what I do and my work, I created a training company years ago, and the content training that I create is under the name Your Virtual Upline. And my main area of this really is leadership. It's helping people get to the next level of their business, whatever that is. I founded something that I call the Legacy Leader Movement. I teach a philosophy of building a network marketing business called legacy leadership that is very different than what a lot of other people are teaching out there in the world today. And I absolutely love the profession of network marketing. It's changed my life. I've seen it change thousands and thousands of other people's lives. And I'm very passionate about helping to uplift and transform the profession, because as much as I love it, as much as I believe in it, also recognize that we are not without flaws and that there is some change that needs to happen in this profession if we truly want to take it to the next level and if we want to take our businesses to the next level. So today I'm going to be talking to you about some things that I see that are a problem in this profession. And I also want us to understand that, you know, I don't think it's a secret for any of you or us that not everybody outside of this profession looking in it use it that favorably. And, you know, right or wrong, a lot, you know, most of the time that those opinions are founded and it's out of ignorance. But I think we have to admit that a lot of that is caused by the people that are in the profession. You know, I say it like that: people, really speaking, don't down on network marketing. They look down network marketers, people that are out there building a business and not necessarily the best way. And if you want to transform the people look at us from outside in, which I'm sure we can agree would be an important thing, because if we can get people looking more favorably on what we do, it just gives more opportunity to share what we have with them to transform their lives. But transformation starts in. You can't change other people. You can only change the way you are in relation to other people. And that's what I really want to give you today is give you some insights and concepts can really help you change the way that you go about building your business. But when I started out in this profession, I was not like what you would consider an overnight success story. Probably the first thing from that. My first year in my net marketing business, I wasn't able to recruit a single person. And that was not without effort. It was trying. It just was not working for me. And at the end of my first year, actually had a total of 2 customers. One of them myself, and the second customer was, if you could guess, it was my mom. And what I'm not so proud of admitting to all of you here today is the way that I acquired mom as a customer. I had threatened her that I would not come home for Christmas holiday unless she signed for, it gets my long distance service that I was marketing in my net marketing company. So like pathetic as it was, it's even more pathetic when you understand I was not even asking people for money to be a customer. I was saving them money on a bill that they were all paying anyway and still couldn't get any customer. So I was like a mess that first year. And I share that with you because I just want to be able to hopefully relate on a level that some of you may be on now, where maybe you're struggling a little bit in business and maybe things have not progressed as quickly as you thought they would. Look, I know what it's like to be in that kind of lonely and sometimes dark place of really wondering, I have what it takes to make it in this type of a business. You know, see other people around you progressing faster, having success, and you know, your business is not growing as quickly as you hope that it would. And sometimes it's easy when you're in those moments to doubt yourself and to lose hope. But when I look back at my story, you know, that first year, and it really kind of turned into almost the first 2 years, but that beginning period of my journey as an entrepreneur, as profession, is actually the thing that I am most thankful for today. And I think sometimes we lose sight. We can viewing our business through a bigger purpose and a deeper meaning. I think that's sometimes people lose sight of. See, this philosophy that I teach, legacy leadership, I consider it the purpose-driven approach to building a network marketing business. And when we start viewing our business through the lens of purpose and deep meaning, here's what we can look back on and realize that our problems are actually gifts. And that our challenges and the difficulties that we face in pursuit of building business are put there for a bigger reason. Challenges and adversity are calling for you to grow and evolve as a person. See, because I have this belief that what network marketing really is, it is a character development program with a compensation plan attached to it. And if you want to know how you can really achieve not just success on the short term, but I'm talking about long-term lasting success, to the degree that you develop and grow your character, to the degree that you can become a person of strong moral fiber and principles, somebody that is not, you know, isn't a different person behind the scenes than they are on social media and when they're talking to their team. If you can grow yourself as a person, that's the way that you ultimately attract success. And here's the catch. The only way that you grow is through challenges and the no's, and you call failure, I'll get to that later, and adversity. We do not grow through successes. So as I look back here today, look at all those challenges I was facing. I now understand there was a bigger purpose. I was going through that for a reason. I was being prepared for the next level of my life, for the next level of leadership. It was enhancing my story. And I got this kind of crazy belief that I just want to share with all of you. And look, but you know, I feel like I need to preface a statement before I say it, because I accept and welcome people that have all different beliefs, but I have this belief about this profession that I really truly think is true. And here's what it is: that your business is an assignment. And I believe that assignment is from God. And I believe that that assignment is for you to grow as a person. Now, here's the catch. by facing your fears and daily challenges of your business, because that's the only way you grow. And to the degree that you're willing to do that, you will discover the truths for your life. Look, I don't know what your belief system is, whether it's universe, God, something else. What I just want to try to wake you up to is that there is a much bigger reason why you are in Beachbody, and there is a much bigger purpose for what you are sitting in this room today. It is not an accident that you are here. It is not an accident that you said yes to this profession. You do not know all of you, but here's what I know about you, because you have made a commitment to be in that room, because you put up with all the nonsense that we have to deal with every single day to build a business, right? Most normal people would not subject themselves to all stuff you have to do to go out and build your Beachbody business. Here's what I know about, because you're in this room. You deep inside, you know there's something more out there for you. You know that you were created for something bigger than your current circumstances, are willing to put with all that in order for you to go out and create a business and a life of your dreams. My message to you today is this: there is a big purpose for Beachbody business, and that purpose is so much bigger than a bonus check, than a rank advancement, than you hitting that next level and whatever you paying off your bill. Now, there's nothing wrong with that. We should all make a lot of money, right? I would even argue that those that are in this room come from a place of love and service and have a good heart. You have a responsibility to get wealthy. You have a responsibility to make so much money, because you want to know what? All money does make you more of who you are. If you're a creep and you have a lot of money, you're creepier, right? You're a worse person when you make more money. But if you're somebody that comes from a place of love and service and giving, you have in your heart truly want to help other people. When you make a lot of money, that gives you a platform to impact and serve, love a lot of people. And I think that right there, that statement, that's the secret in my mind. That is the seed of success. And at its heart, that is this philosophy that I teach called legacy leadership. This is what's different. I teach that income is a byproduct of impact. I teach if you can stop focusing just on yourself and you can truly become what I call a servant leader, which is opposite of what most people are, frankly, in this profession, which are self-serving leaders. You can become a servant leader, and you can really focus on other people, and you can almost get to the point where you understand if you can forget about your bills, focus on helping other people pay their bills, you'll never have to worry about your bills again. Now, that sounds really nice to say, but there's a lot of different pieces that you need to really embody in order for that to happen, and that's what I want to share with you here today. I want to share the concept with you because I'm talking a lot about leadership, and there's a reason why I'm talking about leadership, because whether you realize it or not, leadership has always been and will always be your biggest challenge in your business. You know, I say this to people all the time. The fact that Facebook has changed algorithm again is not the reason why your business is not where you want it to be, even though many of you think it's the case. I'm not getting as many views. I can't get as... Look, I know that stuff is frustrating, but that's not the reason why your business is where it is. See, here's one of the most important things I ever learned about success. I wish somebody would have told me this when I first joined my first company, but they didn't. And if you're taking notes, you definitely want to write this one down. Success is not a matter of doing. It is a matter of being. And who you are being in your business is leadership. See, I focused for the first half of my career in this profession on the doing side, right? I would set big goals for myself, right? Like we do. All of us do that every year. We set these big goals. And the first question we ask ourselves is this: what do I need to do in order to hit that big goal? Well, I need to talk to more people. I need to give more presentations. I need to share my products with more people. I need to do more Facebook Lives. I need to do more this, that. It's always doing. We're always looking for the solution outside of ourselves. And this is the very reason why most people never achieve their big goals, because they don't do those things long enough to see the results. Now, the question is, why is that? Why do so many of us struggle with consistency? I don't know if you've ever wondered about that. That used to drive me crazy. It was like, I know what I should be doing. Why am I not doing it? right? You don't need me to come on here and say you should talk to more people, right? You know that already, but why don't you do it? Why don't you do it consistently? Well, it's pretty simple, because success is not a matter of doing, it is a matter of being. And this is the key thing I want you to understand. Your external results, your current circumstances, what's like the reality of your life around you, the size of your check, the size of your downline, the quality of your relationships with yourself and other people, they are all a reflection of your internal world. And unless you first change what's inside you, you're never going to change what's outside you. Or here's what you'll do. And let me know if some of you can relate to this. You'll have short periods of time where you see success, but you will immediately self-sabotage. Look, I literally wrote the book on self-sabotage. For years of my life, I would have these brief moments of like, it's going to happen. And then all of a sudden I do something to screw it up. And I'm like, what the heck is wrong with me? Like, what? I worked so hard and I never realized why I was doing that. Here's the reason why. I understand at the time was this: you will never out earn the person that you truly believe yourself to be deep inside. If you believe, if you have because every single one of you has what's called an identity that you've created for yourself when it comes to your business. And your identity is made up of a number of different things. It's made up of your thoughts about yourself, which most of the time are usually not that good or nice, right? We kind of have a tendency to think more negatively about ourselves than we do positively for the most part. Your identity is made up of your beliefs, right? So many of us have these limiting beliefs about ourselves that hold us back and we don't even realize it. And your identity is made up of the stories that you make up about yourself and your business, about why you're not where you want to be. Yeah, but you don't get it. I have kids. I don't have a lot of time. I have this. I have an unsupportive spouse. We have all these stories that we make up, which, by the way, all of those things are completely just our interpretations of what is happening around us. But we have this identity that actually winds up, in most cases, holding us back. I promise you this: if you believe that you're not worthy of success or deserving of success or good enough or, pretty enough or smart enough, if you're poor in your mind, your check will never change for any meaningful length of time. Your results will always come back to this. And what most people don't realize is this is what's always been at play. I didn't understand that for years. This stuff was, and for most of us, it happens unconsciously. We're like on autopilot. Like if you even just paid attention for a day or two, the way that you talk to yourself when it comes to your business, you would be appalled. Like you would never talk to other people the way that you talk to yourself. You've conditioned yourself, but you've created this. So here's the thing. And this leads me to really talking about what I think is the biggest issue in our profession today. So many people have what is called a scarcity mindset. They have a mindset of not enough, of lack, like there's not enough out there in the world, or that they're not enough. And this drives all of their decisions and all of their actions. And this is part of the reason also why this profession has a bad name, quite frankly. But when we talk about a scarcity mindset of not being enough, this doesn't just apply to people that are stuck and unsuccessful. It also applies to people. Because here's what I see happening, and I know some of you can relate to this. How many times have you pushed to hit a goal, whatever that next goal is, right? You push hard, you hit it, and in your mind, you think, man, I can't wait to get there because once I get there, happy, now I can feel fulfilled, now I'll be satisfied, life will be great. And then what happens? You get there, you don't even allow yourself like more than 10 minutes to enjoy it. And then all of a sudden you're like, all right, what's next? Right? There's no happy. What you realize is happiness is so fleeting. You can't rely on happiness to keep, that's not a strong enough fuel. Because when you have a scarcity mindset, it's never enough. Every goal you hit, you're always looking to the next one, thinking, and it's a race you can't win. Look, I can't tell you how many leaders that I've worked with over the last 3 years that behind closed doors and in private conversations, they say to me, basically, Bob, I feel embarrassed to say this, but I'm not excited about my business. I'm not fulfilled. I'm not on fire about it. And it feels so crazy for me to say that because I'm making a lot of money and I have everything I thought I wanted. But what happened was they had a mindset of scarcity. They were on the path of achievement, thinking that more and more and more were going to make them feel fulfilled someday. And all of that just resulted in them burning out, being overwhelmed. And what I try to get them to understand, it's because your focus has always been wrong. If your focus is always just on getting, you're never going to feel fulfilled. Fulfillment comes from two things. It comes from growth and it comes from you giving. It comes from you serving. And unless those two things are constantly a focus in your business, your own growth and development as a spiritual and as a personal being, and you focusing on serving and giving, see, unless you're connected to that, you're going to feel stuck. But getting back to this concept of scarcity, here's what I believe to be the solution. Because what a lot of people will tell you, and I think they're completely wrong, is that the solution to scarcity is simply thinking bigger. It's abundance, right? They say, well, you got to dream big. Mentors would always tell me, Bob, you got to dream big, big goals, right? You got to have this vision for your future. And that's part of that is true. But what my early mentors didn't realize, and what a lot of people don't, is there's an important step that's missing in this equation. For someone to go from scarcity to abundance, it is incredibly hard. It's virtually impossible. Because look, if you have all these stories and thoughts about yourself playing that you're not good enough, for you to just say, well, I'm going to just dream big, it feels so fake. Here's the middle step that you need. Before you can step into abundance, if scarcity, you have to first step into being enough. The first step is acknowledging your own worth. The first step is stop telling yourself the lie that you're not good enough, right? Because until you can acknowledge your own worth, that you are enough, that you are worthy of the things you say you want, you will never step into abundance. And here's the beauty of this. Worthiness is able to you in this very moment. It's you recognizing that all this bad stuff that have become your identity, you made that stuff up about yourself. It's acknowledging your own worth. It's starting to tell yourself a different story, and that worthiness will give you the foundation to finally step into the abundance that you want. Because here's your problem. Because you feel unworthy and it's your story, you'll go out and you'll do the right things, but you won't do them long enough to see the results because your self-worth is tied to whether or not someone says yes or no to you. It's tied to the size of your downline. It's tied to your check. So here's what somebody does that has the story of unworthiness. Go out and it does away, which that's what it never worried away. When they don't see the results, their mind says, see, I told you, you're not good enough. You're not getting the results. Look, if your self-worth or net worth, you're never going to live a successful, fulfilled life. You have to start from a place of worthiness. You have to know that you are enough. You also have to understand this. Every single time that you say that you're not worthy or you don't acknowledge your own worth, what you are really doing, in my mind, is you are slapping your loving creator in the face. Because here's what I know, that you wouldn't be put in this room with big goals and dreams for your life without having inside of you to make that happen if you are willing to show up and do the hard work every single day. The problem is some of you are just not putting in the work consistently enough to see the growth and to see the results. But if you start from a place of worthiness, if that's the story, I am worthy, whether someone says yes or no doesn't have an effect on that. You will follow through and you will do the right things long enough to actually see what you want. And then you start to create more of what you want in your life. But it starts from this place of worthiness. Let me talk to you a little bit about thinking. I've been doing a ton. I've been obsessing over the psychology of success because I know that it is the number one issue that people have. And what I've really been obsessing over is kind of what is the connection between thought and our results? And here's what I've come to realize, and I want to open your eyes to a really powerful concept. I want you to understand this, that they base their belief on what is possible for their life based off of their current circumstances. So you look at, how small your downline is or how you're not making any. I did this for so many years. I would be like, well, I've got all this bad stuff around me. How am I going to set those big goals? So I would limit my belief in what I could do based off of what was around me today. But here's what I didn't understand, and this is such a powerful concept, and I really want you to think about this. Your current circumstances, evidence of your past. So the thoughts that you thought yesterday actually are what have created your reality and your results for today. And here's what so many people do. They get stuck in this self-fulfilling negative circle where they look at their circumstances and results for today, and that actually drives their thinking. And that thinking, that negative thinking, keeps perpetuating in terms of negative or no results. See, here is the magic and here is the miracle of this equation. If you can understand that your current circumstances have nothing to do with what your future looks like, it is your thinking that does. You will understand that your current thinking is the evidence of your future circumstances. So what that means is this. If you can start to consciously choose different thoughts about yourself and your business, and I know when you first start this, it's difficult because you've been conditioned to think negative, but if you can start to think more empowering, positive, uplifting thoughts, if you can change the stories that you tell yourself about your business, and you can work on that every day, what you don't understand is you have already began to create a better future for yourself. The manifestation of your results is already happening just through your thoughts. Because here's the way that this works. You think a thought, it creates an emotion inside of you, and that emotion determines whether you do the action or show up. And what so many of you have been doing is you've been having these negative thoughts about yourself, and they've been creating negative emotions. And that's why you don't take the actions long enough. See, if you can train your mind to start thinking positive thoughts, it will create positive emotions about yourself, and that will actually make you do the work, and the actions are what create the better results. Now, let me give you an actual, tangible way to do this. In my mind, the quickest way and the simplest way that I know to get someone out of a scarcity mindset of lack is trading your expectations for appreciation. See, I can almost guarantee you this. If you have any type of pain or suffering in your life right now, it is because of one reason and one reason only. You expected that your life should have went a certain way, and it didn't. Unmet expectations. You thought you were going to be further along than you are right now. You thought somebody was going to say yes, and they didn't. You thought somebody was going to act a certain way towards you, and they didn't. Unmet biggest thief of joy in your life. Here's what we have to understand. We can't control what other people do. We'll never be able to control that. But it is your desire to want to control that keeps you feeling the way that you do. So if you can trade your expectations for appreciation, another way to say that is gratitude. Instead of focusing on what you don't have or what didn't happen, focus on what you do have. Focus on what is happening. Show some appreciation for the little things in your life that are going the way you want. See, because the mind is a really powerful tool. It will find exactly what you want it to. And if your prevailing thought is I'm not good enough and you're focusing on the negative, your mind will only notice things in your life that support that belief. There's good around you. You don't even notice it. That's like when you hit that big rank. You don't even allow yourself to appreciate that. You're like, yeah, okay, I was supposed to do that. What's the next thing, right? And because we don't take this time to really appreciate what's happening, then we just keep bringing more of what we don't want. See, what I've learned about gratitude is this. Gratitude is the gateway drug to joy and motivation in your life. If you're and here's what's so crazy. It's literally hard for people when they first start this to find good stuff in their life. Like we've trained our mind to only look at the negative and only focus on what we don't have. It is hard for us to find the good. But when you start doing that, what your mind begins to do is look for more good, and that starts attracting more of what you want. So if you going back to the equation, thought creates emotion, creates an action. If you have a thought of gratitude and appreciation, it will cause you to feel grateful or joyful. And that emotion will create the space for you to follow through and take the action. But here's what a lot of people don't get. It is a daily battle in your mind. Your thoughts create your reality. So start really becoming conscious of this. Now, it doesn't mean that you're like, okay, I get it. Overnight, I'm going to change. It takes time and it takes repetition. But I just want you to understand this is ultimately what is creating what you have. Last thing I want to talk to you about is this. I want to talk to you about creating different stories when it comes to your business, right? Because we've got all these different constructs of what we think. One of the stories or one of the beliefs I want you to, and this would be an incredibly empowering belief of yours, is through the lens of purpose. It is the story of a bigger purpose for your business. See, because when we believe that there's a bigger purpose for our business, what that also forces us to understand is this, is that life does not happen to us. It happens for us. That the things that are placed in our life, the challenges, the struggles, the adversity, the negative people, the people who quit, the skeptical ones, every single thing that's in our life is there for a reason. What if this was your belief? What if even the most negative, skeptical prospect you've ever talked to in your life was put there as a calling for your own emotional and spiritual growth? See, because here's what I know. We don't learn and grow through the positive experiences and successes of our life. We only learn and grow through the most challenging times if we are willing to look at them through the lens of a bigger purpose and realize that sometimes we go through what we go through in our life so that we can get on the other side, make it through the fire, and then at some point help other people do the same. And looking back, when I look at my first couple of years, it's very clear to me now. And this is what I believe. So, you know, when I was going through it, me personally, I can remember so many times I'd be driving, and this is, I'm going to date myself a little. This is like when we used to have to go drive to people's houses to present our business to them. We didn't have Zoom or Facebook Live. I can remember so many times driving home from meetings, having to, you know, that nobody showed up to, driving 2-3 hours, right? Pulling my car over and tears in my eyes and just saying, God, why is this not happening for me? Like, I'm a good person. I'm working hard. Why? I didn't understand why, because I thought life was happening to me. I didn't understand it was happening for me. I didn't understand that God puts in your life not what you want, but what you need. I didn't understand that this was making me the person that I needed to be someday to deserve what I wanted. And if we view our lens through purpose, it starts to help us deal with challenges differently. Here's the other belief or story I want you to take on. And I want to see a show of hands here right now. How many of you, if you're honest, believe that part of the reason why you're not where you want to be is because you do have a fear of failure on some level? Show of hands. Raise your hands if you struggle with a fear of failure. Okay, almost everybody. We all have this as part of our story, right? I'm going to give you a different way to look at this today. And I'm actually going to make the argument that failure doesn't exist. That failure only exists as a construct of your mind. That something is only a failure if you decide to call it that and you decide that's what it means. See, failure, what it really comes from, it comes from you attaching your worthiness to whether someone says yes or no. You only view it as a failure if the no means you're not good enough. That's where this comes from. See, I hold a different belief. In my mind, failure doesn't exist. Here's what exists. When I take an action, one of two things happens. I either get the result that I want, which is good. Like, eventually, somebody's got to say yes. Right? Like, please, someone say yes. We got to eventually get the result we want. But what I'm here to tell you is the results do very little for your growth and development. It's the second thing that is 100 people. You either get the result that you want when you take action, or you get the lesson that you need. And what I am here to tell you right now is this. If you're stuck in your business, it is for one reason and one reason only. You have not got the lessons that you need to help you go to the next level of your life. And the lessons and the growth only come from the no's. We very rarely take time when we have success to reflect back on the lessons and the wisdom of that success. It's only through the no's and the challenges and the adversity. If we're willing to look at our business through the lens of purpose and say, this is happening to me. Why is this happening? What can I learn? See, even in the toughest times, there's always a seed of wisdom, of a lesson, of something that we can learn. So I believe that no's directly help me grow. So guess what I do? I try to get more no's. I try to what you call fail faster, because I understand the more no's I get, if I have the right perspective, if I understand, if I look at it not as something that's happening to me, it doesn't mean I'm less. It means that it's helping me grow. Then you start to embrace the no's as part of the process. Look, the only difference between the very, very top people in your company just starting out is the ones at the top have gotten 10,000 more no's. They've learned 10,000 more lessons. They've grown and developed themselves as a person. This is where I go back to my first point. Network marketing is a character development program with a compensation plan attached to it. You will not develop your character through the yeses. Character is forged and revealed to others through your no's. You grow as you get the no's. And the other side of it is this. The challenges, and this is a really big leadership topic, and this is something I'm also very passionate about. As a leader, how do you handle the toughest times of challenge and adversity on your team? How do you handle when someone decides to leave your business and go to another company? Do you blow up? Do you take it as a personal attack? Do you trash that person, right? Were they your friend yesterday and today it's like they've been excommunicated and everybody on your team is like, the toughest times reveal your character. And that's a difficult lesson sometimes for us to learn. You know, how do you handle when someone on your team doesn't want to work with you because for whatever reason, they just don't get along with you? How do you handle on your team if somebody rank advances above you, faster than you? See, it is these times that reveal our character. And look, we've all been guilty of it. We've all acted certain ways that looking back, we're like, you know, I should have handled that better. And all that does is it doesn't make you a bad person. It makes you human. But what I'm trying to get you to understand is all these challenges that you're going to face, you need to start looking at them as opportunities for you to either grow or for you to demonstrate the quality of your character. Because I'll tell you what, the way your team sees you respond to moments of adversity where they might expect you to fly off the handle or go that other route, when they see you be a person of integrity and love and compassion, that will do more for your eventual success than anything else. It will solidify why they're on your team. Have them look at you in an entirely different light. See, because at the end of the day, we want to know more than anything that we are around good quality people. You know, we want to know that you want to be the kind of leader that people really, truly want to aspire to be. And a lot of this comes from this idea of character, of looking at your business through a different lens. And then at the end of the day, realizing this, one of the reasons why I believe most people are not successful, all the stuff we've been talking about, if you understand all that stuff, it boils down to this. Success is actually really boring. Success is boring. It is. Like, do you understand how boring it is to do and say the same thing over and over every single day? Send the same message, use the same tool, share the same product, answer the same questions, handle the same objection, do this, do that. Leadership, by the way, here's a good thing to write down. Leadership is repetition. Leadership is doing the same thing every single day, saying the same thing every single day. The reason why some leaders struggle, they make leadership way too complicated. They make training way too complicated. Leadership is repetition. You only achieve wealth through this profession through simplicity. So what that means is you saying the same things over and over and over and over and over again till you are blue in the face and you literally can't hear yourself say it one more time. And only then in this moment do people finally probably get it. But success is boring. It really is. It is greatness lies inside of consistency. That's all it is. It's showing up every day and just doing the little things. And for some of you, it's not even having to do a ton because some of you have limited time to build your business. But what I'll tell you this is if you can't create results for your business part-time, you're never going to do it full-time. If you can't build your business in 5 hours a week, I promise you, if I gave you 50, you would still have the same results. It's the little things. It's simplicity. It's consistency. And it's looking at your business through a different lens. So Meg, that's what I had. I don't know how you want to go from here. I mean, I'm happy to, if we think we can navigate a couple of questions. I'm happy to try to do that if you want. We've got about 15 more minutes here if you want to use it.
I muted us because we were loud, but there was so many amens going on. I think you definitely said exactly what we needed to hear, right? Any questions? I think this is the part where everyone gets nervous, right? Is there anything I think they're all awestruck of you right now. Because I think that is the message that, we're all spiritual people. So I was like, okay, we have to remember that this is more than just
all right, good. I never know how that part goes over, and I couldn't really tell because there's a delay on the head nods and stuff. So, but anyway.
No,
I was I don't know if they're feeling this, but whatever. But here's the interesting thing about spirituality. And maybe if some of you have been following me for a while, you'll have noticed that more recently I've been a little bit more outspoken about that part of my life as it relates to my business. And by no means am I ever going to be in your face with that because it's just not who I am. And I do really respect people that have other beliefs. But I think there's a really important lesson in this that for so long I traded my own authenticity for the approval of other people. And I really, even though I was teaching other people to not do this, I really was trying to become a version of myself that everybody would like and accept. And what I eventually realized is that I wasn't in full alignment in terms of my personal life and my public business life. And when I finally really truly just started to be more authentic to who I was and I believed, not only did it give me tremendous power, but it also, what I've noticed is and I get it. I'm not everybody's cup of tea, but I don't want to be everyone's cup of tea. I want to truly be, stand strong in who I am so that the other people that feel the way that I do can actually find me and relate to me. And I think, whether it's spirituality or just something else, right? Your personality, or it's just bringing the full you to the plate every single day. Because what a lot of you don't realize is because you have this belief that you have to become this version of yourself that's not really you in order to be successful, you have no idea how much that saps your power from showing up in a way that you need to. And I think being able to really step into that and embrace that, whatever that means for you, is an incredibly liberating, but it's a really empowering thing to do.
I love that. So I have a question. Okay, so what are your favorite books to recommend?
My favorite books? Got it. Yeah, I get asked this question a lot. Are we looking at specific topics or just in general?
Moving from scarcity mindset to that abundance mindset.
I'm sorry, Mick. Can you come a little closer? I can't hear you.
So scarcity mindset, and then moving.
Got it. Yeah, so I would say one of my favorite books, and it really is an easy read, is called The War of Art. It's by Stephen Pressfield. The War of Art. I mean, that book changed my life when I read it. And you really, just so you know, you really only need to read the first half of the book. Second half gets kind of repetitive, but I mean, that's like an absolutely incredible, incredible book. You know, I'll tell you, I love anything that Brene Brown does. So like any Brene Brown book you want to get, it's like Daring Leadership is one of her newer ones. She's, you know, she really, really has a lot of great stuff on that. I think, trying to think what else I've been really studying that kind of stuff a lot lately. But I think those would be, you know, that's enough to keep you busy for a little while. Those would be good places to start. And by the way, I'm writing my own book right now, which is a lot of what I've shared. Yeah. So I'm like, I just need to get this damn book done so I can recommend my own book. I'm tired of getting other people's books recommended, but I'm actually writing a book right now that is, in my mind, I want it to be like the thing that when someone joins your team, you can put into their hands and say, this is the way that we build Beachbody. And that really gets them to look at this profession from a totally different perspective. So I've been talking more about it every time I do a training because it adds an additional layer of accountability where it's like, all right, I got to get it done now. But yeah, so in the process.
Well, you have about 27 people who are going to buy that book and recommend it. So
okay, cool.
Yeah, for their team.
Awesome. Okay. All right, cool.
All right.
Yeah. And hey, Meg, I'll mention this real quick. Can I mention my event real quick if anybody is interested?
Absolutely.
So I don't know if we have any like Texas people or anybody that's up for a road trip, but I'm doing a big live event in Dallas, Texas. It's actually in Plano, Texas, but Dallas, May 17th through the 19th. And it's actually called the Impact and Growth Summit. So if you go to impactandgrowthsummit.com, you can see all the details there. We're going to have an incredible 3 days of training. And if you're interested in attending, you can use the discount code SUMMIT2019 and you can get $100 off your ticket.
That's amazing.
Awesome.
Oh, my husband's asking what your ETA is for your book.
In all likelihood, just based off of I know where we are in the process, I have somebody that's actually helping me write it. They're kind of co-writing it with me. But I have to come up with all the content, and then she'll help me put it together. It's probably not going to be at earliest until the end of the year, but I'm going to really put a press on to try to get it done by the end of this year, beginning of next.
Awesome. All right, so we have one more question, and then we'll let you go. All right, Jamie.
Yeah.
So can you give us like one tangible step to move ourselves from that kind of stinking thinking and just be more positive? Because you mentioned like using our thoughts to create better actions and better emotions attached to those actions. But what's a tangible way aside from affirmations? I need something else aside from affirmations.
Well, yeah, I mean, then I'll give you something else, but the number one thing I know, just to reinforce this, is gratitude. It is by far the number one thing is to you know, whatever that means to you, sitting down for 5-10 minutes each day and just finding a couple of things that like, there's not even anything close. But having said that, I'll give you something else is what I think is a really important thing to do is identify what you believe to be the characteristics or the values that if you could embody, would give you the best chance of creating success. Because if you pay attention, what you realize is success does leave clues. Like if you look at the people in your company that, or it could be someone else outside of your company, I don't know, but the people that you really admire and aspire the way that they've built their business and the leader that they are, right, Meg, you're pointing to Meg. Meg shows up in the world, I promise you, a little bit differently than you do right now, right? There are certain things that common leaders will, the greatest leaders do. So look at your life, look back at the last year of your life, and here's a really powerful thing to do. Identify your biggest regrets and disappointments of the last year. See, most people never do this because they don't want to look back and be like, well, why do I want to look at my regrets? Well, here's the reason why. Studies, and they've done a ton of studies on this, studies have shown that regret actually offers the greatest opportunity for improvements in your life. Because you only feel regret in the areas of your life where corrective action is the strongest. So if we look back at our regrets and our disappointments and because think of it, regret is basically, we know we should have done something that we didn't do. So if you can identify your biggest regrets, it gives you the platform to say, how can I make the necessary changes to move forward and do and be better? So I'll give you an example of what I'm talking about here. One of the characteristics that I think is like a foundational one that probably anybody could benefit from really focusing on is courage. If you could be more courageous you would have 100 times better chance of being successful. Now, courage, all that means is it's not that you don't fearful, you fear it, but you do it anyway. You feel the fear and you do it anyway. So like with prospecting, maybe looking back, you're like, I didn't prospect enough, or I didn't put myself out there enough. And it was because I was being controlled by fear. But now I realize in order for me to take the corrective action, I need to be more courageous. So courage becomes one of the key values and characteristics that drives your decisions. Now you got to take it a step further though, because your mind needs clarity. You can't just say, I'm going to be more courageous. You need to specifically define the 2 or 3 things that will be a demonstration of courage. So for you, maybe that's, I'm not going to get stuck in relationship building mode anymore with prospects. I'm going to bring up my products. I don't care what they do because I don't attach my own self-worth to the no's anymore. I know the no's are lessons. So a demonstration of courage to me is just bringing up my products in my business every day. Maybe a demonstration of courage to you is starting to do Facebook Lives, and you've struggled with that in the past. So it's identifying, and you probably don't need to do this, nor would you want to do this with more than 2 or 3 different values or characteristics. But if you could find 2 or 3 things, maybe it's courage, maybe it's gratitude, maybe it's commitment, or meaning that you just show up every single day. Maybe it's love. Identify a couple of different characteristics and define the actions that would support them, and have that be the thing that drives what you do every day. Now, in the beginning, here's what's going to happen. It's going to feel completely fake to you because you have this old character, this old identity that's held you back. And what some of these new things are going to do is you're going to be doing things that are like crazy for you, that are so out of character, but that's a good thing. Because what happens is when you start acting out of character, you start doing things that are so crazy that scare you to death, and you focus on doing those every day. Before you know it, those things that felt crazy and fearful don't feel that way anymore. They actually become part of who you are. And this is where your character begins to grow. And then the things last year that you did and that you accepted, you do not accept that anymore. See, it's almost like you're raising the level of what's acceptable, because here's what a lot of you don't realize. You have the life today that you are willing to put up with. That's a hard thing for us to admit. Look, a lot of you are complaining that you want things to be better, but you're not following through and taking action. It's because you're willing to put up with it. It doesn't hurt enough yet. See, when you start growing your character, when you start creating a new identity, what you used to accept as okay is not good enough. You raise the bar and it keeps raising. So that would be something that I would say would be a really great thing to do. Identify a couple of these characteristics, define them in terms of the actions, and then make it a focus every day to try to do those things.
Thank you.
Well, Bob,
You're
thank you so much. Like, this was amazing. You guys want to all say thank you? Thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me. And definite enjoy the rest of your retreat. And I hope to see some of you at the event next month.
Yes,
Take care,
absolutely.
everybody.
Thank you so much, Bob. Bye.
Bye-bye.